group conversation for marketing, specifically focused on marketing operations. I'm Dara Ward, the director, and I have provided a few slides to get to know what marketing ops is all about. Couple of things that I just want to say sort of overall is a year ago we had one person on the team, so we are growing the team significantly, and excited to have Beth Peterson join us this week. And if you haven't already seen the presentation regarding the tech stack, that's on slide 7, I think, where you can actually see some of the tools that we work with, and what those look like. There's actually screenshots on each of them. So that might be helpful for people to understand a little bit of what we do. But basically, we are the team that supports marketing with processes and tools. Excuse me. Processes and tools. The other two things I just want to highlight is, please, if you are looking for new tools, if you can use the access requests. And if you have any specific questions for marketing ops, make use of the marketing ops channel. It looks like I've got some questions already, so I'm going to turn there. Sarah, would you like to verbalize your question?
Sure thing. So I was just wondering, what challenges or obstacles do you feel you need to overcome to work towards the vision you have for your team?
Yeah, great question. So what I wrote in here already was we have had, obviously we're all dealing with the enormous growth of GitLab. And as new people come on, everybody's got these fantastic ideas of things that have worked at other businesses that they, and we have to have this tool. It worked really beautifully. So it is keeping up with all those great ideas and finding a way that we can make those happen, and or show that we already have tools that do things that work similarly, but also trying to get that to all fit into our stack. And then the secondary one that truly is a challenge is when things were built with, one person here trying to do it all, things were built MVC, right? I mean, that is the way we do things. And then you work on those and you iterate. And many times we haven't had the opportunity to go back and really harden those different systems. So that is the challenge, is new people with all these exciting ideas want to put things on top of something that may actually not be foundational enough to move forward with. So it is trying to do that simultaneously and make sure that we can keep moving forward and choose the right things. So.
Great, thank you. I also have the next question and I'll verbalize it. What projects are you most excited about for next year?
So lots of things. There's so much opportunity here. Number one probably is the lead work that, and I suppose this will continue. We have OKRs related to the leads, but that's sort of a step in the right direction. I think there's a lot of opportunity to streamline processes, find better ways of doing things, make the SDR team really, like in my best, being the best marketing ops person to me, and really ops person in general, is the more that we can let marketing do the job of marketing, SDRs, dealing with customers, and we can help on the back either to automate things or take on some of the administrative stuff, the better off we are, putting people in the place that they can use their skill set to the best. So other than that, I think there are, a ton of other opportunities. We're doing some great things on the metrics side in Periscope. I attached some links there to our marketing dashboard. We were on the board call. It was a marketing focus last week. And, one of the asks was, could we have a regular metrics about marketing that is included every time in the board deck, and a consistent one? And I think working through that and trying to figure out what that looks like is also something that's exciting to be able to share all the work that we're doing, because there's so much going on in marketing.
Great, thank you.
Sid, you've got the next one. Would you like to vocalize your question?
Yeah, thanks for that. Can you elaborate a bit on what lead views are? We apparently are trying to reduce them. I can guess what they are, but I'd love to know more.
Yeah, so I started writing in here as well. In Salesforce, it really is just the queue. So the lead view is set up specifically with, certain columns that help the SDRs know that this is, an MQL, what their score was, what their last interesting moment was, to help them make the calls and prioritize. And our previous processes had been for every major event we went to, we built a new lead view, and the SDRs were asked to sort of look at that lead view in particular. What we're hoping to move to is being able to say, from the events that occurred, these are the ones that you need to contact, and they can just come into their regular MQL lead views rather than having to have all these additional ones. It's a little bit of a paradigm shift.
Thanks.
David, can I get you to verbalize your question, please?
Of course. Hi there. Yeah, essentially, if you could tell us some words on slide 7 in particular, I'd be interested in. I'm seeing quite a lot of tools in the tech stack. Are you foreseeing this to grow, or rather to consolidate and reduce the number of tools for us to? I mean, the ultimate goal would be for us to be more efficient, but yeah, I'd like to get your views on that.
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think we need a GitLab for MarTech that is the whole platform that does everything. But until we have that, I think there are so many different tools, and marketing has so many aspects to it that it's very difficult to, Marketo is our marketing automation platform, but that only really does the campaigns, the emails. So there's so much more to it. So I would, anywhere that we can consolidate, we are definitely trying to do that. As all these great people are coming up with new tool suggestions, it's okay, can this work? We have this in place. Will this work for you? Versus, going out and buying a new tool. So I would love to consolidate. It's just in some cases not possible. Also, there are tools that we've purchased that potentially we could build in-house. That is, a reporting tool, and so we're looking at potentially doing that. But again, if something's been built in such a way that it makes it that much easier, it's you're balancing whether or not that's a good use of time. If there's other things that those people can be doing.
Okay, thank you.
Tina.
Hi, Dara. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Excellent. Thank you. So my question is, I know it's a huge team effort, like when we go to these very large corporate events and the lead list, I know everybody is involved. It's not just marketing ops. It literally is a team effort. But I will tell you, when I go to these events, I purposefully go to some competitors and some of our partners and get scanned myself. And I see that they are outdoing us by 2 to 3 days of being able to do follow-ups. So I'm wondering, I'm sure you guys have already thought about this, but I'm wondering if you could verbalize here if we can shorten up that SLA on that lead list upload.
Yeah, so it is definitely something we're working on. And I think you're all aware that Jameson moved from the SDR team into marketing ops as an associate. And it is the one like starting focus, start here, because we absolutely knew that list uploads were something that weren't happening fast enough. Oftentimes the lists come to us and they need quite a bit of cleanup. Like we have a script that runs on it, but sometimes it needs more than that. There's missing titles or duplication, or the information is in the wrong column, whatever that is. So there is quite a bit of time that needs to come through and clean that up. And then we do load them as quickly as we can, but it's not as simply as just, pop it in and it's there. We're putting them into Marketo, making sure that everything gets flagged the right way. If they should MQL because they raised their hand and said, call me, that we get that information to the SDRs, that we show the last interesting moment. Like there's more to it. But yes, it is absolutely somewhere that we're hoping that we will be able to improve. We're even looking at a tool that may help us do something to clean it a little faster and enrich the data for where, there aren't titles or they've missed the first name, they only got the last name, that sort of thing. So that is something that we're also looking at right now and have a meeting next week. So.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for the question. Jackie, what can I do for you?
So with so many requests coming in from a number of teams and your team scaling, how do you envision best communicating what the priorities are, the status and the delivery is across all teams? Because even if someone sits kind of in the smaller marketing org, like a specific department, I think it's still helpful to see some of the improvements you're making across sales and SDR in different areas of the organization.
So you're less asking about how we can be more responsive to you and your team, and more asking how you can be aware of more of what's happening?
Yes, correct. More about the communication and some of the priorities that are being focused on.
So I will open that up to you and say I would love suggestions on how best to do that. I mean, I think perhaps we can make more use of those, strategy, our weekly strategy meeting with the marketing team. I do foresee that as we grow the team, I'm trying to put in place what I'm calling in the slides, the business partners. So similar to like an HR business partner or a finance business partner that we're very familiar with, that in marketing ops, we actually have people that are business partners, like to your organization, right? To MPMs, field events, those ones are coming soon. Right now, I only have Beth and Nicole that are focused on the SDRs, but the thought being that any SDR that has a question, they go to Beth and Nicole for their answers, and they can also feed back anything else that is happening that might be of interest to the SDR organization, learning about it from marketing ops. Similarly, hopefully we'll hire next week somebody that's going to help support your team, events, campaigns, and be that marketing ops person that you can interact with. And again, that person will be able to relay a lot of the other things. Hey, we were talking and, Beth mentioned they were doing something on the SDR team. Might that be useful, right? I'm hoping that we're going to be a little bit of the glue too behind things and be able to share that information. But any suggestions you have, I'm always open to. So
great, thanks. Yeah, I think the marketing strategy and tactics called like a quick overview might be a helpful place to keep everyone on the same page.
Great.
Excellent, thank you.
Thanks, Jackie. Mona, would you like to verbalize your question?
Woohoo! I love this ops one. This is awesome. Best GC ever. I have a question about just scoring. And I love the work that we're doing to improve just SDRs being able to move faster and handle leads better. I know that there was a talk about overhauling our lead scoring system, which I think is also a big part of us knowing how to prioritize what and having a trust system. And this is the best lead to follow up on. Is that something that's still in the works to do? Is there anything from the SDR perspective that we can do to provide feedback on some of the leads that we really like versus some of the ones that we don't really like?
Yeah, yes, it's in the works, and it is always something that I believe in, that the more we can, from a sort of back-end marketing perspective, bring things up to the SDR team and say, these are the ones that you should look at, the better off we are. The Path Factory kind of put a little bit of a, slowing down because we had the Path Factory qualified leads and trying to figure out how that's best going to fit in. But I think we've also found that the data enrichment piece, like the things that we put as our Q4 OKRs, are so critical to really get that foundation hard again. There was an expectation, or at least personally, I had an expectation that things were in a slightly better place. So I just think we've got a little bit of work to do to make sure that we've got the data so that that scoring makes sense, right? We can put in scoring, but if we don't have the right information there, we're going to be sending up junk, and that's the worst thing that could happen, right? So I want to.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim, would you like to vocalize your question for us?
Sure. So I'm with the public sector team. Actually, I have a second question I'll add here. So one of your slides talks about the business partner being in SDRs. We don't have SDRs. Brent Caldwell leads our ISR team. Is he our relation or partner manager then?
Yeah, that's a great question. And in terms of, so he is the ISR on your team, right? So the business partner is what I'm thinking of, somebody in marketing operations actually being the go-between. And we can absolutely discuss with Beth and Nicole whether we can open that up, because it is a similar function, right, to the SDRs. you are taking in new leads and so forth. So I probably should just put /ISR. Would that help?
That would help. Great.
Awesome. Thank you.
And then a follow-up. It's my understanding we've hired someone new to manage outreach.
So what I want to stop is this thought of who do I go to for a tool? I would like to really have it be if you're, on the PubSec team or the ISR team that we're helping to support, that you're going to Nicole and Beth, and you're not as worried about who manages what tool, right? Let us worry about that. I promise you will be given SMEs on whatever tool is needed. And even if the specific business partner isn't a subject matter expert, we've got that within the team so that we can do that on the back end. So if you have an issue, it should be going to Beth and Nicole rather than worrying about who's my outreach person, who's my Salesforce person, who's my, Marketo person, who's my whatever, right? I'm hoping that'll make it easier for everybody.
Okay, I will follow up with them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the ask. Come on, friends. I know there's more questions.
Hi, Dara. I'll jump in here and just to ask, I love all of these charts and graphs. This is a really nice deck that you've provided here. What are some things that you've already accomplished or some progress you've already made that you feel pretty good about in the last couple months?
That's actually a great question. I feel like we've been flying. Definitely hiring people and getting that figured out, sort of what the structure should look like. I have seen huge strides in the marketing metrics. That dashboard didn't exist. Robert has been working diligently on not only, he ended up doing sort of the data engineering part as well as the data analyst. He taught himself SQL in order to figure this all out. And I think he's really impressing everybody with what he's able to put together. The rest of the team, it has been, how do we take what we have, like bringing on Path Factory, I think was great. Certainly, Sarah Daly has been an awesome assist on that side to help us get there. But putting that in place and trying to hook all that in, we have that tied in now to visible touch points. So there's a lot of things on the back end that, these vendors tell you plug and play and it's all going to work, but there's a lot of sort of art behind it where JJ's really helped to figure that out and determine what the best thing is to do. And then I would also say we have gotten a fantastic relationship with the sales operations team. And we meet with them regularly. Obviously, everything we do affects Salesforce as well. Somehow it all is connected together. So working with that team and making sure that we're all working in the same direction is I think that's been huge. So. Anything else I can answer for anyone?
I'll ask something fun just to wrap it up. But what is your favorite thing to eat at Christmas?
Ooh. All right. So I'm an odd one that I am gluten-free and dairy-free, and I don't eat a lot of pork. And I'm going to Spain this Christmas, so I'm kind of like really interested in what they might serve, but it might be jamon. So I may be doing the pork thing anyway. I'm not overly traditional on what I like to eat. I'm kind of open to anything. I think I've had duck and, beef and beef Wellington kind of thing, or, certainly turkey and ham. But sorry, didn't give you a great answer, but I'm excited to what I might be eating this year.
Oh, that's very cool. That's exciting.
It is exciting.
I have a question. Hello, Dara.
Hi, Morgan.
As we begin to attend some of these local meetups within just where we live, Is there a particular strategy that marketing is working on for us to approach it, even as SDRs, if we're not necessarily aligned to our specific like home place, like how we should go about maybe sponsoring the event or, you know, engaging with the people there, depending on what's going on and the volume of attendees?
Yeah, I love the question, and I'm going to defer you to Jackie's team, MPM's field marketing, or even the community team, because I'm not sure. So feel free, whoever feels like they're the right person to help Morgan out here to jump in.
Yeah, I think I'm probably the right person to address that question. So, Morgan, not knowing like kind of the specifics of where you're located and the territory that you cover, you know, just kind of thinking about our global meetup strategy, we definitely work with local groups. I think, you know, if there's a group in your kind of hometown that makes sense to partner with, I'd be happy to kind of explore that possibility. I don't think that you kind of not covering that territory would be a blocker from doing that type of thing. So yeah, so I think if there's local groups that you think make sense for us to partner with, I'm happy to explore those opportunities, regardless if you're covering that kind of territory or not.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John. And Jackie, would you like to vocalize your question?
Yes, I will. And I know we have 4 minutes left. So just curious, what do you foresee as the top 3 challenges that we need to tackle in fiscal year 21 to make the systems most effective?
So I'm going to kind of defer up to, you know, some of FY21 things, because I feel the challenges are definitely onboarding new people and getting that not only on my team, but making sure that we're including everybody and addressing things and making onboarding for the marketing team effective and efficient. Definitely this idea of things that were built MVC and getting them hardened so that we can rely and we can scale as we, you know, move towards public. The other thing is, you know, is also controls in place. And I'm a CPA, so I've got this, you know, maybe crazier idea of how that should look. Had a great conversation with some of the e-group yesterday, and just sort of a reminder that if there, you know, we're not as budget constrained as maybe my first feel is like, oh, let's not spend money. That if it's something that is actually going to, you know, get us revenue for the business and it's the right thing to do, the e-group is very willing to look at that and make budget decisions around that. So I think that's a challenge for me personally, as well as, you know, just the company as we look to put in controls, but not to the point that we're constraining things and not growing the way we should be.
Hey, Dara, are we ever considering, because it seems like there's a lot of issues where we all are in agreement that this is an issue, we want this changed, but maybe there's a bandwidth problem. And I know we're hiring now, but I still think that the amount of issues that we have is still going to limit us. Are we considering outsourcing some things, getting contractors, giving them some of our, like, hey, clean up our dirty data or make these changes or whatever it is? How are we feeling about contractors?
Yes, so we've actually done a teeny bit of that already. We contracted out those listening campaigns for Path Factory to come into visible touch points. We did a little bit there. And we also contracted out some smart list for geo purposes so that NPMs can just send to a very targeted, you know, city metro area. So we've done some of that already. And yes, I will continue to do so anywhere that we are feeling constrained. I do feel like having that business partner is really going to make a difference because we're going to really know your pain. I mean, I know you work really closely with Nicole already. She's been awesome, but there's so much to do. And there's so many tools on the SDR side, which is why we really needed Beth to come in and the two of them hopefully working together. We're going to be able to, and it's also, you know, I mean, even the work that Megan's done on her side is being able to consolidate some of the issues that are all related, but saying, you know, this is really what we need to do, which, you know, somewhat led to our Q4 OKRs, right? That's how we got that whole list of this is what we need to do for leads. So great question. All right, I think we've got 1 minute left. There's nothing else. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm always here if you want to reach out. Take
Thanks,
care.
Dara.